Hi guys, Matt Easton here. So I'm lucky enough to be doing yet another unboxing soon after the other one, the shield that I recently got. And this is a box from HEMA Supplies, run by Scott Brown, a good friend of mine. In fact, he appears in some of the earliest videos I started doing when I started building up this channel. But he runs HEMA Supplies in the USA. And if you want any of your HEMA gear, be it fetish shirts or practice sabers, bucklers, protective jackets, masks, all kind of stuff he can supply you. So that's Scott Brown of HEMA Supplies. I'll put a link below to his Facebook page. So this is a box. I'm not going to say what's in it this time because I got criticised for giving the game away last time. So what do you think's in it? I don't think it's a helmet. Could it be a helmet? No. Strange sound. What do you think that might be? Right, so it's obviously not a sword. Unless it's one of those Indian arumis that's wrapped around in inside a hat, but it's not. So let's cut this thing open. So this arrived this morning, much to my delight, which is convenient because I have training this evening. So whatever's in here, I can hopefully take it down to training tonight and see what people think and use it. Hopefully that, because the last time I'll need that knife. But, whoa! Okay, so I know that in America you like your Cadillacs. So it seems what I have here is a hubcap for a Cadillac. No, it's not actually. What it is a buckler. Okay, but it's quite an unusual buckler because, as you will see, it's shaped kind of like a 1950s UFO. Woo, there we go. Actually, what this is it's a buckler that Scott has been working on, made to his own design, but it's based on those in 133, as he calls it, or I-33 as I call it, which is a sword and buckler treatise. It's actually the earliest fencing treatise from Europe. Dates to about 1300. Some people say, oh, it must be about 1290. Other people say it's as late as 1340 even. Personally, I'd say it's probably about 1310, 1320 is my view. But it's the earliest fencing treatise that we've got. And there are essentially two ways that they represent the bucklers in 133 or I-33. They show them kind of, well, normally the figures are always shown from the side, so let's go over here. They either show the bucklers side on, like that, in which case all you can see is a disc, or they show them like that. And when they show them front on, they're very often this shape, in other words, kind of conical, okay? And they do, some of them even have kind of like a nipple or almost a little spike on the front there. And lots of people who do I-33 kind of talk about, you know, whether this is artistic convention, if they're just showing, if they're showing two types of bucklers perhaps, or if it's just artistic convention that when they show them like that they show them conical, and when they show them like that they look a bit flatter. But anyway, this is inspired by the conical version of what's shown in I-33, with a view to seeing if it changes at all how the buckler functions as an object, I suppose. And I know Scott mentioned to me a long time ago that he wanted to do this, and he himself has, for years now, as far as I know him, been using a slightly domed buckler rather than the flat type, or rather, most of us use a type which is essentially like a small version of that, which has a dome in the centre and then a flat section around it. But Scott's been using one that's fully kind of convex. And yeah, it's an interesting thing. I don't know yet whether it will adjust how I think certain techniques should be done. I should point out I don't do I-33, so I actually, when I do sword and buckler stuff, I do more Bolognese, more Marozzo Manciolino style, which is kind of different. It's almost a contrasting style to what you see in I-33. So whether this will apply to the more Bolognese way of using them, I don't know. But it's an interesting thing, so let's just have a little closer look at it here. It's mild steel, I presume. It's clearly been made by some kind of spinning process. I know that they do some kind of spinning press for making helmets and in fact for hubcaps probably as well. And I imagine you can definitely see lines in this where it's spun around. So this has been made out of some kind of hydraulic press, I imagine. and it's made in two pieces. You've actually got a boss and then the shield plate, as it were, and they're secured by 6 rivets through here. There's a rivet in the nose of it which doesn't actually do anything, it doesn't hold anything, it's just there, I imagine, to be symbolic of the spikes you sometimes see in the manuscript in I-33. And then these rivets you can see above and below actually secure the grip, which is essentially a pipe that's been squashed at each end, as far as I can tell. So it's a hollow metal pipe, obviously not solid because that would be too heavy, although I have seen some bucklers. Man, you can get some really bad bucklers around. A lot of the bucklers that are sold at reenactments and reenactment markets and stuff like that, or Renaissance fairs, I guess it would be in America and Canada, some of them are just horribly heavy. What you want from a buckler, you want it to be strong, but you want it to be light. Okay, you want basically a buckler to be as light as it can physically be, while still being strong enough to not cave in. And this is light, I will say that. I use a 9-inch conventional buckler with a flat plate and a dome on it, and I think this is about the same, but this is bigger. In terms of strength, I mean, that's one of the things about this sort of conical or convex shape, is it's structurally far stronger than a buckler which just has a dome and then a flat plate. The flat plate is more liable to turn, and also more liable to get bent if it gets hit at the side. So this is a very, very strong structure. I imagine I could park my car on that and it wouldn't dent it at all. It seems to be, my guess is 2mm thick, which is 14 gauge mild steel, spun forged. It's got a rolled over edge, which obviously is good both for the buckler in terms of its rigidity and strength and longevity, but it's also good for you. If that hits parts of you, it means it's being spread out over a larger area. So obviously you should be wearing, if you're practicing techniques, occasionally it might hit you by accident, but if you're sparring with these things, you should definitely be wearing full sparring gear appropriate to steel weapons, to be safe from that, because getting hit by the edge of a buckler, trust me, it's not nice, especially on your forearms. It hurts like hell. So there we go. On first impressions, I think it's awesome. I don't know if it needs as many of these kind of ribs. Maybe it's ribbed purely for Scott's pleasure, I don't know, but it's got kind of, it looks a bit like something that honeybees would make. It's a bit weird, but I would maybe have not had as many ridges as this has got. Maybe an idea to the ridges is to catch points, maybe to bind against the blades a little bit better. They'll be interesting to have a play with that and see if that works, but I can see that having extra ridges might help directing and binding against an opponent's blade, either the edge or the point. And of course having the raised ridge at the edge helps catch points occasionally. Well, you shouldn't really be catching points with the front of the buckler, but if it happens, it's better than it skimming off and hitting you. My only sort of constructive criticisms initially would be that where the boss joins the flat plate, it's perhaps a little bit, I won't say sharp, because it's not sharp, I'm not cutting myself with it, but I don't know how user-friendly that is. I mean, I haven't hit myself on it yet, but I could see someone might do, but you should be wearing gloves all the time, so hopefully that's not a problem. And the grip is okay, it's not round. Something I really hate are cylindrical grips. On basically, the only thing I would accept it on really is something like a spear or something that's thrusting. But anything where the direction and alignment of the thing matters, in other words a sword or a shield or a bill or a halberd or these, or even an axe, I want at least oval and preferably even slightly rectangular. Okay, because I want to be able to feel that alignment, and it's the same thing with bucklers. It's very important with bucklers. So it's very good that they've made that grip not cylindrical, they have made it oval, so that there is a kind of steering element with it, you can control it. Would I have gone for a flat grip? I don't know. I might have been tempted to have a flatter grip that goes further into the boss, because the further your hand is into the boss, the less it can be twisted and turned aside by people hitting it and forcing it, even with their buckler, with a shield knock as it's called, to push the buckler aside to create an opening. I always feel that the further your fist can be into the buckler, the better. This handle is not that far into the buckler. It's quite far back, which enables you to have quite a good pivot. So maybe I would put the handle a little bit further in. But I have to say, this is pretty awesome and it looks pretty cool. And as far as I know, it's the first mass-produced version of the I-33 type conical buckler. So I will go away and I'll have a play with these, and I'll lend these out. There's actually 2 in the box, which Scott has very kindly sent me for testing and reviewing. And I will share these around my club and there's more keen sword and buckler people in my club than me, and I will give them these, and I will tell you what I think when I've had a good use of them and when they've had a good use of them. Cheers guys!